Okay, wait until you hear this. If you drive for DoorDash, something came out a bit ago about secret algorithms, this desperation score. How desperate are you as a Dasher? If you accept more, they'll pay you less money. And DoorDash's response here. Now, if this is the first time you and I are meeting, my name is Mike. I've been doing gig work since 2015, and I've driven on DoorDash. I first signed up in 2018, so I got a lot of experience here. This is all I do. I help you make money in different side hustles. So there was a leaked whistleblower post or something a couple of weeks ago. I want to go over what this leaked post says. I want to go over DoorDash's response, including a response from their CEO, and ultimately my response as an actual DoorDash Dasher with thousands of deliveries, maybe like you, and also taking your feedback in the Dasher community here. So this was posted on Reddit, right? Ominous post. Hey, I'm a back-end engineer developer. Listen to what this said. And this absolutely went viral, so much so that DoorDash made a response. Tony Xu, their CEO, posted on X about this. So let's get into it. This is astonishing. Follow with me. I'm posting this from a library Wi-Fi on a burner laptop because I am technically under a massive NDA. I don't care anymore. I put in my 2 weeks yesterday, and honestly, I hope they sue me. I've been sitting on this for 8 months, just watching the code get pushed to production, and I can't sleep at night knowing I helped build this machine. Again, this is from a Reddit post, and it says, okay, you guys always suspect the algorithms are rigged against you. Do you feel the same way? Like, as a Dasher, maybe let me know in the live chat or the comment section, how long you've been dashing, what marketplace, and maybe how many deliveries you've done. Follow this. Does any of this resonate with you? And then again, I want to go over DoorDash's reaction here. But the reality is actually so much more depressing than the conspiracy theories. I'm a back-end engineer. I sit in the weekly sprint planning meetings where product managers, PMs, discuss how to squeeze another 0.4% margin out of, quote, human assets. That's literally what they call drivers in the database schemas. They talk about these people like they are resource nodes in a video game, not fathers and mothers trying to pay rent. First off, the priority delivery is a total scam. It was pitched to us as a psychological value add. Like I said in the title, when you pay that extra $2.99, it changes the bootling flag in our JSON, the coding, but the dispatch logic literally ignores it. It does nothing to speed you up. We actually ran an A/B test last year where we didn't speed up the priority orders. We just purposely delayed non-priority orders by 5 to 10 minutes to make the priority ones feel faster by comparison. Management loved the results. We generated millions in pure profit just by making the standard service worse, not by making the premium service better. But the thing that actually makes me sick, the main reason I'm quitting, is the, quote, desperation score. Pay attention to this and maybe share this with someone that drives for DoorDash or is thinking about driving. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for context. We have a hidden metric for drivers that tracks how desperate they are for cash based on their acceptance behavior. You know how they send you offers and you accept it or you decline it? There's a metric for it that's tracked in your Dasher app called acceptance rating. That's what it is. If a driver, let's say, usually logs on at 10 p.m. and accepts every garbage $3 order instantly without hesitation, the algo tags them as high desperation. Once they are tagged, the system then deliberately stops showing them high-paying offers. The logic is, why pay this guy $15 for a run when we know he's desperate enough to do it for $6? We save the good tips for the casual drivers, Dashers, to hook them in and gamify their experience while the full-timers get grinded into dust. What would you accept? Would you accept $3, $4, $5 offers? Are you more part-time or full-time? Let me know. And do you feel any correlation to any of this? Then there is the benefit fee. You've probably seen that, $1.50 regulatory response fee or driver benefits fee that appeared on your bill after the recent labor laws passed in various marketplaces. And actually, just this past Monday, there was new legislation passed in New York City. If you want to be on top of this whole gig economy, definitely consider subscribing. And I appreciate you if you already are subscribed here. In reality, that money goes straight to a corporate slush fund used to lobby against driver unions. We have a specific internal cost center for policy defense, and that fee feeds directly into it. You are literally paying for the high-end lawyers that are fighting to keep your delivery guy homeless. And again, hang with me. This is solely from the we'll just say Reddit post, which is apparently a leaked post from a back-end engineer supposedly at a large food delivery company. And regarding tips, we're essentially doing tip theft 2.0. We don't steal them legally anymore because we got sued for that. Instead, we use predictive modeling to dynamically lower the base pay. Base pay is DoorDash's contributions, $2 to $10 plus, based on desirability of that order and a few other things there. If the algo predicts you are a high tipper, you'll likely drop $10. It offers the driver a measly $2 base pay or minimum base pay, as I just said. If you tip $0, it offers them $8 base pay just to get the food moved. The result is that your generosity isn't rewarding the driver, it's subsidizing us. You're paying their wage so we don't have to. I'm drunk and I'm angry. Ask me anything before this gets taken down. And then the reposter comments a little bit more here. So what this supposedly talked about is a few things. A desperation score, priority offers, and a few other things. Take a look. Now, I want to go over DoorDash's response, right? DoorDash actually responded to this, and let me pull that up right now. This is a very interesting post to say, post it right after, basically, quite recently after that initial post. So let's go over this together. And I'm going to show you their CEO, Tony Hsu's response on X as well. And then I'm going to give you my thoughts as an actual Dasher. And we'll take your feedback as well. I see you in the live chat. If you missed this live, and if you want to watch replays of any live, definitely subscribe. And I want to hear your thoughts right now. A recent viral post and the appalling claims within it are not about DoorDash. Again, I'm coming to you as someone who actually dashes, and I've done it uniquely in different marketplaces, basically across the country, San Diego, California, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I've been doing it for years, since 2018. I've seen a lot of features come across the board here, so I'm very versed with this platform. We were appalled, like many others, by a recent viral post. It hit a raw nerve, not just because of the extreme allegations and dehumanizing language used, but because it raises real concerns about how workers are treated. Specifically, those who deliver for their neighbors and communities. To be clear, the viral post and horrible claims within it are not about DoorDash. As our CEO and co-founder, Tony Hsu, has made explicitly clear, we do things differently at DoorDash, and we have a zero tolerance policy for for the kind of culture and behaviors described in the posts that we just read. We're not perfect. We make mistakes and we get things wrong, but we believe deeply in working each day to make our platform better for those who come to it. More than 8 million people choose to Dash in 2024 alone. Obviously, that number's getting higher now, rolling past 2026. And we think we have a responsibility to make the dashing experience better and more rewarding. Given how different the culture and behaviors described in the post are from how DoorDash operates, we want to take a moment to articulate our approach. So this is directly addressing those claims in that leaked post, whatever you want to call it, whistleblower post, or frankly, just a scam, prank, false post. And there's been some discussions like, hey, this is just a fake scam post, whatever it is. But let's continue. Claim number 1, possibly addressed immediately the biggest thing for Dashers. The app uses a desperation score, which is a hidden metric that tracks how desperate drivers are for cash. DoorDash says we do not and would never use something like a desperation score, period. This is a horrific term and even more horrific of a concept. We are not tracking how much cash Dashers have and determining pay based on that. What do you think about that? Like when you're dashing, if you're making more money, then do you feel like the app will limit you? And I understand, I see comments in the live chat that says, hey, this was debunked. Good. But I want to bring your awareness to this because this is what DoorDash's actual response is. So those that have never seen this post, that are concerned that someone shares this, because trust me, this response is reaching 1/10 of the possible shares of that original response. So even though if you already know this is debunked, fantastic, but I want to get this in front of Dashers, frankly, that don't know about this. And I want to show you DoorDash's response, and then of course my response as an actual Dasher here. In fact, Dashers who accept more offers typically earn more over the course of their dash than those who don't. We've even built an entire Dasher rewards program that gives Dashers who provide the best service priority access to higher paying orders, meaning that we give every single Dasher in the opportunity to maximize their earnings every single time they dash. Now, this claim of accepting more, typically earning more, let me start to give you a little bit of my insight here. So I've seen reports that says, yes, okay, and internal reports from DoorDash. I mean, obviously they've made it public, but these reports showed a bell curve of those with downtime. I don't know if I still have it up here, and it says those with less downtime, as in not having offers, earn more. I think they called it inactive time, and I found it wonderful. So let me show you this actually in just a moment. So DoorDash posted this sometime, I think it was maybe a couple of years ago, but AR is your acceptance rate. And DoorDash reported a higher acceptance rate nudges down inactive time. So you have less downtime the more you accept. Duh, that makes complete sense. But DoorDash also says, well, hey, the more you accept, a lot of the times you might earn more, as it says right here. Just be a little smart with what you accept, okay? Like, okay, if you're sitting around and you're accepting every single $5 offer that comes your way, if you accept 4 in an hour, 5 $5 runs in the hour, you're making $20 to $25 in that hour. That is our channel goal here. Wonderful. But on the other side of that offer, if you're accepting $5 for 3.9 miles, the actual profit margin of operating that vehicle for business is not as wide as if you took higher margined offers. $5 for 0.9 miles, 1.3 miles. It's going to vary a lot based on what your marketplace gets, but I just want to throw that out there with accepting. Claim number 2. Drivers are referred to as human assets. We don't call people drivers or human assets. We call them dashers. We are proud that more than 8 million people, mom and dad, seniors, students, veterans, people building their own businesses, chose to dash last year alone and earned more than $16 billion doing it. And through our We Dash program, all corporate employees are dashers too, because a core part of our culture is being obsessed with how the experience, to make the experience better for every single member of our audience. You know, uniquely, and this is why I do think this is the best place to learn about the gig economy. So I appreciate you if you're a part of our community here, but I can show you We Dash. I had the unique opportunity to visit DoorDash's headquarters in San Francisco, California. None of this content is sponsored though, which again, you get an actual neutral stance from a gig worker. If programs don't work, or they're bad ideas, or they're executed poorly on any platform, I let you know straight up. But there's videos that I've shown here on the channel that show a We Dash where I dashed with DoorDash corporate employees. You can check out that video. Maybe I'll leave a link down below in the show notes. But they actually dash a ton? No. Okay, they're working on other stuff, but at least they're getting hands-on with the actual platform itself. 8 million people dashing here. I interact with you on the road here in Pittsburgh when I get recognized, frankly, from this YouTube channel, and I've met all different kinds of people. All different kinds of people down below in the comments section. So again, maybe, let me know your thoughts on the dashing platform down below in the comments. But like DoorDash says, I've met students, I've met elderly adults doing this just for fun. I've met people, yes, starting their own business. I mean, I myself, I'm starting my own business as well while I do this, while I do gig work. I've met people who are doing this full time. I've met people that are they just started, they're doing this a few hours a week. I've met couples dashing together. I think that's really fun usually because they're having a good time. They're hanging out together. I've done that as well. I've DoorDashed with a significant other as well. So there's a lot of different types of not human assets, but dashers, people that are out there and dashing for different reasons. Maybe, let me know why you're dashing. Claim number 3. The app charges a driver benefit fee to fund a policy defense center. Sounds like a command center for DoorDash. DoorDash says, we don't charge a driver benefit fee. We do not have a policy defense center. In some places where the cost of complying with specific local regulations is high, we may charge a regulatory response fee. This fee helps fund the cost of compliance and helps keep our platform operating sustainably in those marketplaces. Let me pause right there. What does that mean? So yeah, if there's a market, and look, this is me giving you a straight shot stance here, is if DoorDash has to pay more money because of a minimum pay guarantee, Prop 22 in California, New York City, minimum, I forget the actual verbiage, MRP or something like that, minimum rate paid. And again, there was some new legislation just enacted this past Monday, the 26th, I believe it was, of January 2026. It's going to cost DoorDash or any company, more money. Even local mom and pops, if some kind of regulation comes through when they have to incur a higher cost in this kind of economies of scale, how is that cost going to be paid? They can take the complete cut and pay it completely out of their wallets. They can pass some of it to the consumer. They could cut back on costs, or they could push all costs on consumers. That's how economies of scale go. That is not new. That is not exclusive to DoorDash. So that is them responding to legislation that costs them more money, flat out. And as they echo, these are fees we reluctantly have to impose and happily remove when we're able. That's why DoorDash is very forthcoming when they say they don't support certain regulations that will cost them more money. I don't work in policy. I don't work in labor laws. Okay, I'm a DoorDash dad. I'm a food delivery driver. I'm a dude that does rideshare, delivery, shopping, grocery, parcel. I've done basically it all for 10 years now. So again, I appreciate you watching. I really do. And if you could like this video, if you're getting value so far, thank you so much for being here. And speaking of dashing, we might get out there today if they can get rid of the snow here in Pittsburgh, but I digress. To date, we have actually removed more than 80 of these fees across the United States as specific regulations change or are removed. So they're like, hey, we'll remove the fees if we can. And like all of our fees, any regulatory response fee is clearly displayed to the consumer before they check out. Claim number 4, priority delivery is a scam. We do not charge a priority delivery fee. At DoorDash, we offer express delivery, which means exactly that. Consumers have the option to pay more for faster service when they want. By the way, Uber Eats does charge for, quote, priority delivery. If I'm remembering correctly, on Uber Eats, that is what theirs is called, priority delivery. Or, just priority or whatever it is. The truth behind the scenes isn't that exciting. If you pay for express delivery, our assignment system prioritizes your order and doesn't combine it with other orders. So the driver just picks up your order. There's no stacks. There's no add-ons, it's called. There's no other assignments. They just have your offer and then they deliver the thing. Express helps speed up your delivery, and Dashers often get higher pay too. Now, this last claim here is pretty big, so don't leave this video. This is also directly related to pay, and I'm going to tie this into what you actually see as a Dasher. I know exactly the screen that you'd see here, so maybe you forgot about this, so let me know if that's the case. Claim number 5. If a customer is typically a high tipper, their driver earns less base pay. Remember, that's the company contribution. So the screen that I'm talking about, when you get an offer and you can accept or decline, you're an independent contractor, but at the pickup specifically, so after you accept it and then you're given, directions to navigate in that screen, or maybe it's at the pickup screen, in a green background, it'll say, prioritize this delivery or take extra care with this delivery. This customer tends to tip more or tip higher or whatever the verbiage says. They've tweaked the verbiage, from time to time. But it's a green bar, and I'm sure you let me know in the live chat if you've seen that bar. I guarantee you've seen it. It says, take extra care with this delivery. This customer might tip more. So this claim is saying, okay, if the customer might tip more, DoorDash is like, oh, great. They usually tip more. They're tipping $10, $12 on this order. Let's offer less base pay. And DoorDash says, Dasher base pay is determined by 3 factors and 3 factors alone: time, distance, and desirability of a given order. That's it. Base pay is always calculated without taking into account what a customer tipped on their order. Customer tips are always on top of base pay, and 100% of that tip goes directly to the Dasher completing their delivery. And this is all I do. I researched this gig economy for years and years and years and years. As long as I've remembered, it's always been this. On their support page, it is time, distance, and desirability. What does that mean? Time, how long is the delivery going to take? Distance, how far is it going? How far is that Dasher going to drive? And then desirability, it's kind of interesting there. Do Dashers want that assignments? Because if it's sent to a Dasher, and someone declines it, it's sent obviously to another Dasher. If that Dasher declines it, obviously this order isn't very desirable. People are like, I don't want that. It typically doesn't pay enough. Maybe they don't like the restaurant. Maybe the location isn't ideal for whatever reason. Then DoorDash typically increases that base pay. Remember, $2 to $10 plus. If people keep declining it, typically that base pay is going to keep going up. And that is solely what base pay is based on. Now, we've seen a lot so far. We've seen this leaked post. We've seen DoorDash's official blog post response. Now let me show you their CEO, Tony Xu, who I did have the pleasure to meet and meeting a few of their team members at their home office. So I think I have a very well-rounded stance. Also, talking with thousands of Dashers like you. I've talked to Dashers with tens of deliveries. I've talked to Dashers with tens of thousands of deliveries. And I'll tell you this, I'm always very transparent with you. I don't have the most deliveries in the world. You know, I've been doing this stuff for a very long time. I drive and I work in this platform, but I also uniquely, on a daily basis, research this platform. So I don't have the most deliveries, but I'm certainly well-versed and I work directly in this space. So check this out. This is the response directly from Tony Xu, the CEO, shortly after this came out. And his response was this: "Holy is right. This is not DoorDash. And I would fire anyone who promoted or tolerated the kind of culture described in this Reddit post." There's so much wrong with this post. Dashers are not, quote, human assets. Having a metric like a desperation score is an abomination. We've never had a driver benefit fee. Why would you charge for faster delivery and not make it faster? We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we work every day to make our platform better for everyone who comes to it. What's described here is appalling, and if true, whoever is operating in this manner should be ashamed. So with this, let's culminate everything. We've seen Tony's response, the macro level company response. We saw this initial leaked post here. Let me come back to you and give you my thoughts as an actual DoorDash Dasher and what I've seen when I've actually dashed. Now, again, I've dashed in San Diego. I've dashed in Pittsburgh. I've dashed for years. I've dashed during the day, during the night. I've shopped. You know, I've done all this stuff. Over the years, I can't say I felt anything has ever felt manipulative. I've tried their rewards program, by the way. They have a silver, gold, platinum tiered rewards program. Sneak peek, we might be testing that again here in 2026. So definitely subscribe. If you are, stay tuned and make sure to click that notification bell and click all notifications. I know a lot of it is market dependent. Both in San Diego and in Pittsburgh, luckily, I've always made pretty good money. What does that mean? I'm averaging like $20 plus an hour. Here in Pittsburgh, especially in these recent busy winter months, I'm making even more money. I mean, I'll leave some shifts linked down below. I'm making $25 to $30 plus an hour. It's anecdotal, okay? I'm one person in one marketplace. That's why we're a team. I can't know everything, and I don't know your marketplace as good as you, so let me know, how it is for you. It's always going to be a bell curve. The stats, some people, either through bad luck, bad marketplace, bad tips, not busy enough, too small of a marketplace, they don't know the best strategies, are making like the worst money, right? Always. And then we have the bell curve of average earners, decent marketplace, some bonus pay, not a ton, pretty well populated, decent balance of dashers and merchants, okay? And then the other side of the bell curve, the highest earners, the best case scenario, maybe the highest bonus pay, the best imbalance of supply and demand. So they always need dashers for whatever reason. There's a ton of customers placing orders, a lot of discretionary spending from the customer. And customers always are tipping more frequently, and they're tipping a higher average amount. I think Pittsburgh, traditionally has been a very good gig economy marketplace. And this is not in just recent years. I mean, again, I've been doing gig work for 10 years, and Pittsburgh's always been pretty strong. Anecdotal, one marketplace. I can't see these claims being true. You know, when I've worked on, and this isn't just DoorDash, by the way. I'll go even more macro if I can be so bold with you. I can't see any of these top 50 companies doing anything as wildly egregious as setting up their own massive platform with millions of workers and having some, what do we want to call it, malicious or manipulative thing in the background of the algorithm. They want every driver to make as much money as possible. Remember this. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing if you make a lot of money. Why would, like, the one claim, if you're like making a lot of money, like they know how much money you're making, Desperation score, they're going to cap your earnings. Why would they do that? I mean, if you're making 28 an hour, 30 plus, they like that. Because you know why? Then you're talking about DoorDash to your friends and family. Like, guys, I signed up for that DoorDash thing. Like, it's actually going pretty sweet. I'm making really good money. Now, if you're not making a lot of money, let's talk about that as well. If you're not making a lot of money, DoorDash wants you to make more money. They don't want you to do the opposite of that and not like the platform and quit the platform. And actually, recent numbers have shown retention has been higher, basically, than ever for Dashers. They're signing up and they're staying on the platform. Now, of course, there's marketplaces and Dashers that don't like the platform at all. And they don't enjoy dashing at all and they quit. I would encourage you, if you just started and you're getting frustrated, you have to learn the best practices first. If you're doing everything right, if you know all the best practices that we teach you here, and by the way, one of those best practices, to be frank with you, is not just driving on DoorDash. It's driving on different apps at the same time and selecting the best offer for you. I don't care if it's food delivery. It can be rideshare, grocery, parcel, shopping, at-home work. It does not have to be DoorDash. Trust me there. Use the app that pays you the most. Put your time into that app for your marketplace. If you've uncovered all the stones and you know the best practices for each niche has different best practices. You've done all that and you're still not making great money. Gig economy might not be the best for your marketplace. I'm very frank when I say that as well. But going back to this claim, again, let's bring it back up here. I mean, just to address each of these claims individually, as an actual Dasher here, Desperation score. If you accept low dollar orders, will DoorDash continue sending you low dollar orders? I mean, we can test it. Imagine like I dash and I try to only accept low dollar orders and see what happens. I mean, I wouldn't accept low dollar orders. And I guess you could say like, well, if let's say I am desperate, let's say I do need cash and I've been there. I've been flat broke and I've needed every single penny and I had to ask money for gas once because I had negative money in my checking account. I've been there. So I don't like low dollar orders. I don't want you to have to feel desperate when you're dashing. I have to keep stressing this. That's why I want you to multi-app. Don't just download DoorDash. It's free to download the other apps, okay? And then remember my other points. If you're making $12 an hour on DoorDash, but you got to know the best practices, okay? So subscribe here. And if you're still making low money on DoorDash, don't do it. Don't drive for DoorDash, okay? So either you're doing something wrong, the marketplace isn't the best, combination of both. Look at another job. Look at a W-2. Look at retail. I've worked retail. There's nothing wrong with it. Work retail, work food service, work customer service. All of those can be fine entry-level jobs that would pay more predictably, W-2. You have a predictable schedule. You don't have to wear the vehicle down. So there's options out there, okay? If, let's say, DoorDash or any app isn't working for you, all right? Number two, Drivers are referred to as human assets. This is really interesting because when I went to DoorDash's home office, I actually got an interface with many of their team members, meeting their CEO, Tony Xu, briefly, and talking and meeting directly with actual product managers. By the way, I did an interview with some of those product managers, two of them, Colin and, oh my gosh, I'm going to blank. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm forgetting. My apologies, but we'll leave it linked down below. Two of their product managers were very nice. So I have a very unique flavor of this gig economy, specifically DoorDash. Speaking with those PMs, with Tony, with members of their communication team, I'm sorry to tell you this, they're regular people. They're regular people that are very smart, very talented, and they're very driven. I spoke with someone on their autonomous robot DOT team who was not even scheduled to talk to us. She was operating DOT, and I talked to her and some of the other team. They weren't even really planning on talking with us, and everyone's very motivated and talented, frankly. Very, very talented people. They would never think of Dashers as human assets. These are regular people that are in that We Dash program as well. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if that comes from a place of, discontent, malice, spitefulness. But I can tell you this, no successful company gets to the points of DoorDash's scale by thinking of human workers as human assets. That's just ridiculous, as Tony mentioned. The driver benefits fee and policy defense, like Tony said, we don't have a policy defense center. By the way, I actually did hear from DoorDash's policy team as well. Again, I'll be frank with you. If you and I can just, say this together, I didn't really enjoy the policy session. It was kind of boring. Okay. Also, again, if you're ever worried about me giving you a neutral stance, there you go. Policy session was kind of boring. I don't care about policy. I care about you, the Dasher. Yes, there's policies that are meant to help the Dasher. Dash Roots, if you're interested in, talking independent contractor status, they have been working on portable benefits. Portable benefits, I believe, is now piloted in Georgia. It first piloted here in Pennsylvania. Great. That's all well and good. Fantastic. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of those 8 million, Dashers, they just want to go out there and make some extra money. 90% of these Dashers, per DoorDash's own stats, are dashing less than 10 hours a week, like everybody. 90%. And then 80-some%, again, per DoorDash's own numbers, are dashing less than like 4 hours a week. Most everyone is doing this here and there, after work, when they're free, etc. Now, there's nothing wrong with, policy and portable benefits. Not really for me. I'm more so concerned about operations. How are deliveries? What new earnings modes are you working on? What new earnings types are you working on? Are you expanding Dash Link warehouse deliveries? How can we make shop and deliver better? Because I also straight up told DoorDash, I don't do shopping at all, guys. It's not good enough for me. It takes too much time. I don't like the item substitutions. So, I'm trying to share what I see. And I also shared concerns with the team directly. I shared that you may want more peak pay because here in Pittsburgh, remember that bell curve we talked about? Pittsburgh gets a good amount of peak pay. That's the bonus pay. But I've also said, I don't care what you label it as, base pay, peak pay, challenges, whatever, everyone just wants stronger pay. So if we can get stronger pay by having better earnings opportunities, offer types, we have earn by time, earn per offer, we have shopping, we have alcohol, we have convenience, right? That's fine. But let's just make sure we have enough earnings opportunities for Dashers. Priority delivery, that's customer facing. We'll skip that here. Then I guess lastly, when you get that green offer card, like I told you, take extra time with this delivery or handle with care, whatever it says. This customer typically tips higher. Does that result inversely in lower base pay? I've never overtly tested that. I mean, I've gotten plenty of, high tipping customers with that green flag there. Maybe that's something that I can test for you. I mean, again, I'm going to dash as soon as we clear all the snow from the parking spots here in Pittsburgh. I can track it. I can tag, okay, this one was a green high tipping offer. On average, is there lower base pay? And I can tag those separately versus other offers that don't have that tag. And how is base pay on those offers? I don't think I would see a statistical correlation. I would need a sample size of at least 100. So it would take me a little bit to actually test that. I've never really seen an actual statistical correlation, though. That is the problem, between those high tipping customers and that base pay.